This is No BS Job Search Advice Radio, episode 2568. I'm your host, Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome. Well, I've got a fun question for those of you who are interviewing for senior roles, particularly those of you who are talking for roles in the C-suite. It's a question a board member might ask, someone who might be in very senior leadership in the organization might ask, and it's, what should our strategic priorities be over the next 3 years? And for those of you who are not there yet, it's a great question to prepare for because this is something you're aspiring to, right? And you might as well start thinking, this way in anticipation of interviewing for these kind of roles. Hope you find this show helpful and give this show a great review wherever you listen to it or watch it. Share it on LinkedIn. Leave a comment. Do something that lets people know it was worthwhile. And we'll be back in just one moment. I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and people hire me for no BS career advice globally. And I've got one of those tough interview questions that might be asked of someone in the C-suite as part of the interview process, maybe with a president, maybe with someone on the board. And the question is, what should be the most important strategic priorities for our company over the next 3 years? Now, going into the interview, I want you to spend a little bit of time researching public information about the organization and what the issues are, where the successes are and such, so that when we get to that part of the answer, you're prepared. And I say that because the correct way of answering this is to basically give a generic answer until you're pushed further. So by that I mean, it's important to really consider the specific goals and objectives of your firm and determine the most important strategic priorities. And in doing that, I'd consider the current state of the market and the industry in which your firm operates, the goals and objectives that your firm has already set for itself, such as growth targets and profitability targets, resources that are available, the strengths and weaknesses of your firm compared to competitors, and the amount of time that we're going to have to make changes. And based upon these factors, I might look at increasing market share, improving efficiencies, developing new sources of revenue, and strengthening our competitive position. However, I want to be clear, it really is impossible for me to give specific guidance on the most important strategic priorities of the firm without more context to consider about the firm, its industry, and such. However, some generic ideas or some general ideas I might have would be to conduct a SWOT analysis, to look at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats facing the firm, to confirm your firm's mission, visions, and values, which will help guide decision-making, set specific goals for your firm. You see what I mean? This is all generic stuff. And it concludes by saying it's important to involve key stakeholders in the process of developing this plan so they can provide their input and buy-in for it. But ultimately, the most important strategic priorities for your firm will depend on your specific goals and the resources available to us. And, you see what I mean? This is all generic. And what you're looking for is to say, I can give you some hip shoot things based upon public knowledge, but until I'm in and until I'm digging in, it's hard to be really certain about what's needed. I read, for example, in such and such magazine that there are issues around such and such. I read in other sources that there are issues around this, that, this, and that, and that the organization does extremely well with such and such. However, that's not what you're looking for from me. You're looking for someone who has the ability to dive in deep, get results, affect change, and set a direction for the firm. And in doing that, I can talk with you about previous situations I've been in and how I went about doing it. So notice what I've done. I dealt with the initial general stuff. I basically punted on specifics. I then went into talking about, I've done research and I have the general knowledge that's publicly available from such and such resources, and I need more. So I hope you find this helpful. I'm Jeff Altman. My website is thebiggamehunter.us. Go there and go exploring. There's just going to be a lot there that will help you with job search, hiring more effectively, managing and leading better, career transitions, or for that matter, with a workplace issue. And if you'd like me to coach you, you can schedule time for a paid coaching session with me. I'd love to help. Also want to mention at the site, there's information about my courses, books, and guides, and much more. Again, the address is thebiggamehunter.us. Lastly, connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/thebiggamehunter. Have a terrific day and